Hey, this is Ray Dombrowski. In today's video, I'm very excited to show you a brand new collection of textures I have called Inside Out Reverse Print T-shirt textures. If you don't know about reverse printing, I'll tell you why it's becoming so popular. Reverse printing is when a screen printer takes a t-shirt, flips it inside out, and prints your design on the inside of the shirt. The screen printer will use extra squeegee pressure to push through more ink so it shows on the outside of the shirt. The reason graphic designers like reverse printing so much is that it can take a design that's too bold or too boring and almost like magic will turn it into an interesting and wearable t-shirt. So on the left here, I've got a regular printed t-shirt, and on the right is the same design reverse printed. And if you look around at your favorite stores, you'll start to notice how many reverse printed t-shirts there are out there. As you can see from these examples, reverse printing does wonders in making t-shirt designs look better. But there are a few downsides. The first downside is the person wearing the shirt will sometimes notice the thick, uncomfortable ink printed on the inside. Another downside to reverse printing is that it can be very hard to control the amount of ink that's pushed through the shirt. And the last big problem with reverse printing is that it can only be done with screen printing. It can't be done with direct to garment. That's why I made these textures, to make the results easier and more controllable. Let me show you how to use these textures in Illustrator and then Adobe Photoshop. So when you download these textures, you'll get 17 textures in layered Photoshop format, bitmap TIFF format, and also Photoshop brush format. So let's go into Illustrator. So here I have a 2-color vector logo, and all I need to do is choose one of the textures. So I'll go File, Place, and let's just choose one of the Photoshop PSD files. I'll just choose the first one and click Place, and you'll see the texture here. And all we need to do is select everything. Select the graphic and the texture, and in our transparency window, what you want to do is click Make Mask. And you'll see we have a very extreme texture here. So for this texture in particular, what I want to do is in the transparency window, I want to click Invert Mask. And that inverts our texture. And now it went from very extreme to very subtle. So you can invert all of these textures. So you're actually getting 34 options out of those 17 base textures. One other thing with this method, which is known as the opacity mask method, is that it knocks transparency through your design. So let me just give this a yellow background so you can see that the transparency goes all the way through the design. And I'll zoom in here just to show you the detail. So for Illustrator, that's all we do. Now I'll show you how to apply the texture inside Photoshop. Now we have the same logo, different colorway in Photoshop. And let's look in our layers panel to see how this is set up. I just have a white layer, a red layer, and then a blue background layer. So what I want to do is I want to take the white layer and the red layer and just highlight both those layers and then go Command G to group them. Next, what I want to do is go Layer, Layer Mask, Reveal All, and this adds a layer mask to that group. And now we can non-destructively erase out the texture from the design. And if we ever want to go back into that design and take the texture away or alter it, the clean design will still remain intact. So to paint into that layer mask, all you need to do is double click on this ABR file, and that'll automatically load the Photoshop brushes into Photoshop. Now I have my paintbrush tool selected. If you don't have your brushes panel open, just go to Window, Brushes, and scroll down and look for these 4000 pixel brushes. Let's just select one of those and make sure we have black as our foreground color. That's what we're going to paint with. And all I need to do is, let's say I want to size this brush a little bit. You can go into your bracket keys. Left bracket key will size it down. Right bracket key will size it up. And we just paint black into that layer mask. And you'll see we have a beautiful reverse print texture in Photoshop, and that's all we need to do. But as I mentioned before, these textures are invertible. So to show you that, In the layer mask, make sure that layer mask icon has a little white box around it. That means it's selected. And just go Image, Adjustments, Invert. And now you have a more extreme version of that same texture. I like the first one, so let's go Command Z to undo that. And I'll zoom in a little bit and you can see how good these textures look. Click on the links with this video to find out more about inside out reverse print t-shirt textures for Photoshop and Illustrator. Thanks for watching.